Hey guys, I'm Mike. I'm an HR professor at the Ted Rogers School of Management. In weekly videos, I provide my old exam questions and the solutions to help you out in your HR courses. So if you are in HR, will be soon, hit subscribe, smash like, make sure the notification tab is on, and check out my weekly videos. And in this week's video, I'm going to be talking about two old questions related to health, occupational health and safety in the workplace. And I'll also give you the template on how to solve it. So if we're not going to wait any longer, let's get into it. All right, so let's dive into it. So we've got two questions here on occupational health and safety. I can't really fit them on the same page here. Maybe I'll try to, is that a little bit better? Can I do that? Barely. All right, so if you want to have a quick test on both of these questions, I think I can do it. No, I can't. Okay. Anyways, here's the first question. Okay, pause. Here's the second question. Pause if you want to. All right, let's jump into the first one first. Okay, so you're a senior manager at Canadian Tire's head office and had one of your employees were injured at work. Okay, the injured employee informs you that he fell on the way into the building because no one had laid salt earlier in the morning to melt the ice in the pylon. Okay, so slipped on ice, blaming the lack of salt. When talking, okay, so you can immediately see there's an accident occurred. So if you didn't know, this was occupational health and safety. Somebody's injured, the occupational health and safety. Okay, so the injured person is blaming because there's a lack of salt. Lack of salt would reflect a condition, okay, an unsafe condition. Unsafe condition which led to the slipping, which was the accident. The fact that it's cold weather, you could perhaps refer to as a chance occurrence. Right? In terms of another reason why somebody might have got injured on the job. All right, let's keep looking. When talking to the injured employee supervisor, you find that the employee was late for a meeting and was running to the parking lot. Okay, that is another unsafe action. Not another unsafe action, that is an unsafe action. Another reason why the accident occurred. The supervisor also informed that the injured employee entered through the side door, which is restricted to employees only, that caused the customer the customer entrance was well salted. Interesting. Okay, cool. That's kind of like that's like, oh, it's easy until this. And then you're like, okay. So what are the main causes of the accidents? Okay, well, we talked about this a little bit. Okay, so first, part A, what were the main causes? Yes, so these are the three reasons why accidents occur. Ideally, okay, what people would do when they write questions like this, they use the theoretical language that's provided in the textbook. Okay, there's a chance occurrence, and then explain, kind of like spell that out, what that means. Okay, chance occurrence, weather, freezing. It's the idea that the weather, cold weather led to freezing of the ground, which made the ground slippery, which increased the chances that somebody would slip and fall. Okay, it wasn't the sole reason, but it contributed to why the accident occurred. Unsafe condition, icy ground. Was not adequately, it doesn't sound like it was salted at all. And the fact that it was, you could even refer to the idea that we're referring specifically to the side door. Okay, so the side door should be salted as well. Unsafe actions, running, particularly when it's icy. Okay, those are all reasons why, why you shouldn't do that. Okay, so those were the main causes of the accident. Part B, could this accident have been prevented? If yes, how? If no, why not? Could this accident have been prevented? Yes, of course. Okay, so we can't do anything about, so anytime you're trying to look at like a solution for this, you can always do something related to unsafe conditions, unsafe action. You can't do anything related to chance occurrence. Like if a lightning bolt came down, no, the accident would still occur. But it's, it's weather, it's freezing. Of course you can do something, right? Because, just the idea of training, making sure people don't run when it's, when it's icy. Unsafe condition is make sure you're salting everywhere, not just the customer entrance, make sure you're salting the employee entrance. 2, you could have emailed people in advance, say, okay, just so you know, we're only going to salt the customer entrance tomorrow morning because of X, Y, and Z reasons rather than another, okay? So there's a bunch of other stuff that you could say, but basically what I said to you is adequate. Who's responsible for the accident? It's both the employee and the employer, okay? The employer will be liable because it was an unsafe the employer because there was an unsafe condition, okay? The entrance was not properly salted. The employee because they were running in an icy ground. The only other situation where things could have been a different scenario is if we talked about Occupational Health and Safety Committee. There's no reference of them in this question, so I probably wouldn't include that myself. However, if that could be another stakeholder who could be partially responsible for the accident, or at least responsible for resolving the accident or resolving the potential of future injuries occurring again. Okay, part D. After this incident, the employee refused to come to work any day that it snowed, even if the company promises to change their salting schedule. Stubborn employee. He claims he has the right to refuse unsafe work. What is likely to happen if the employee does not come to work on the next snow day? So the interesting thing here is a right to refuse. Employees actually have the right to refuse unsafe work, 100%. Okay, they can do that. However, it is limited to when the working conditions of the equipment are actually unsafe. If the organization is taking every precaution necessary to fix and resolve the problem, then the conditions are actually not unsafe. So if the employee refuses to come to work when the conditions are safe, then that individual could be held liable for termination, discipline, all of those things, because they're refusing unsafe work, but what they are given is actually safe work. All right, and so you have my little blurb there. Here is what's said below, and it's determine whether the employee is correct. Since the employer is taking action to resolve the condition is likely removed. Yes, perfect. Myself from several years ago is aligned with myself from today. Let's go to question 2. You are an employee at Shopify. Yes, big Canadian company. You typically work on a team of 10. You work with a team of 10 people. Typo. And work in an office environment that can accommodate 15 people. Ooh, you can already see where this is going. Your team has a major deadline next month. In order to meet the deadline, you're hired 15 more workers. Okay, if everybody's working from the office, that could be overwhelmed. So that would be 25, and your office can accommodate 15. And as us, they work in the office. Okay, well, there you go. In the hurry to complete a project on time, some of the employees have been starting to run between and the bathroom to use the toilet. Wow, these guys are... Okay, so right here, you can already see that an unsafe condition, the room can accommodate 15, but you currently have 25, right? 10 plus 15. So unsafe condition, unsafe action, people are running to use the toilet. Okay, that's... anyways. During one instance where an employee was running to the bathroom, an employee tripped on a new hire's computer bag laying in the hallway. You could even make the argument that whether this is an unsafe action, somebody just throwing their bag wherever, or an unsafe condition, in fact there wasn't proper storage for their stuff, regardless, they probably a little bit of A, a little bit of B, but that's kind of the setting. Okay, it's clearly an unsafe condition, clearly an unsafe action. If you really wanted to throw in the committee components, so Occupational Health and Safety Committee, the fact that they're not auditing, the fact that they're not monitoring this on an ongoing basis, the fact that they're allowing this to occur, there's a whole bunch of things you could consider. Okay, so what were the main causes of this accident? Let's dive into it. Okay, so what were the main causes? A, unsafe actions. They're running, putting bags in the hallway. B, as well as number 2, unsafe conditions. Too many employees, poor scheduling. Yes, perhaps you could facilitate working from home, remote work. Okay, it could have been done, depending on the situation. Is there anything else I wanted to say there? No, there's no chance occurrence. It doesn't appear that a random chance occurrence has played any effect, right? Any situation here. Okay, so that's it. Those 2, again, from the top marks perspective, this is only worth 2 marks, so probably this is adequate. But again, remember, I use the theoretical language, unsafe action, and then apply it to the actual case as to explaining why it would be. That's the fully developing. And make sure you get full marks. Explain 2 ways that you could lessen the chance of this occurrence from occurring. Okay, so the important thing here, okay, is once you've identified why the accident occurs, okay, when you're trying to reduce it, you're trying to basically say, hey, there's an unsafe condition. What can you do to improve the condition? That's the resolution. Hey, there's an unsafe action. What can you do to improve the action, okay? That is all what you're trying to do. So anything from part A where you've identified the unsafe actions or conditions, part B is what are you gonna do about it? Okay, so unsafe, reducing the unsafe actions, okay, training employees to not run in the hallways, to go to the bathroom breaks more regularly so you don't have to run, and educate people where they have to put their bags, okay, under the desks, whether there's a separate room for it, anything like that. Get a new office, accommodate your employees better. Perhaps you could even talk about better lighting. If you say that lighting contributed to the individual tripping over the bed or bag, you could say to facilitate people working from home, differ schedules. So some people work during certain days of the week, others work during other days of the week, so that there's not more than 15 people in the office at any given time. But really, at the end of the day, you're trying to make the action safer and make the condition safer, right? If you do that, you win. What is presenteeism? Ooh, this is interesting. It kind of comes out of nowhere. It doesn't really relate to this. I think it's because, I think I actually included it because I just published a Journal of Organizational Behavior paper on presenteeism, and I wanted to slide that in there. I'm interested in the topic. Okay, so presenteeism. What is presenteeism? Presenteeism is going to work when you are ill. So it's the idea. So absenteeism is you're sick and you stay home because you're sick and because you're away from work. You're absent, less work can get done. However, there's this bigger push to say, hey, you're sick, but you still want to be there because you want to show, you want to give one, you want to help out, you want to give a little bit more for the team, right? You're gonna go above and beyond. You're gonna still be present, but there's a whole bunch of negative consequences from that. Okay, so in the context of your workspace, how might presenteeism negatively affect Shopify? Okay, so really this is like a two-prong component. How does presenteeism negatively impact organizations? But at the same time, how does presenteeism negatively impact organizations in this particular context? Okay. Boom. Number one is because you're sick and still going to work, you could infect other people. Okay. So it's the idea that because there's like close quarters, 25 people already together, you're probably going to be working elbow to elbow. There's not a lot of space. More people, you're more likely to share your infection or illness. Okay. And two, since you're unwell, you're less likely to perform at your top, right? So if you normally perform at like 100%, maybe when you're ill, you perform at like 75%, maybe because you're ill, 75% plus a high pressure scenario, maybe you're at 50%, right? That kind of idea. And when you're performing at 50 or 75% because you are ill, how will that impact? Will that be contagious, if you will, to other, to your colleagues that you're also with? Maybe they are, they'll see that you're underperforming and they'll be like, oh, maybe I can underperform too and just get paid the same amount. So it could rub off the wrong way, produce bad products. And this whole push to, before a tight deadline will kind of go down the drains. Anyways, guys, that is it for this one. All right, guys, that is it. That is my video on occupational health and safety. Found this video helpful or want to learn more tips on how to crush old HR exam questions, not really old, but new ones too, hit subscribe, smash like, make sure the notification tab is turned on, and check out me next week. Take care.